Okay. This is for Timmy Huffstetler. Got a freshly pulled latex piece from the mold that I did day before yesterday. And because it's cooler weather, I wanted to make sure that it was going to be 100% cured and done. I'm basically just starting a paint up on this for him because I'm going to be out of town this weekend. The wife and I are going to take a little vacation, and the kids are going to watch the place while we're gone. So I basically just, take a little vacation from everything, and wanted to make sure that he knew that the piece was ready and I was going to start work on it before vacation. This is just me starting out on it and making sure that everything is good. And he wanted a display piece, so basically that's what's going to get made here, because apparently he's got a great idea about putting one of these on a mannequin, a lot like I do in here, and displaying them as a Halloween prop. So I'm trying to get this done within the week for him to be able to have it up and out and displayed and everything. So it's going to take me probably a couple of days to paint it. I'm hoping, today being Wednesday, we're not leaving till Friday. If I work on this thing all day today and all day tomorrow, I may be able to get it out by the weekend. If not, it will be probably Tuesday after I get back. Because we're going to go on a weekend trip up to the mountains. And I don't take vacations very often. So, Blaze, I've just pulled it out of the mold. I haven't done anything with it, dude. I haven't done anything with it. It's just fresh out of the mold. But what I am going to do is just kind of do a little bit of work with it insofar as underlaying and that type of thing. Just kind of show you guys how I go about doing this. He wanted the real dead, rotted look on it, so that's what we're going to give him. Nobody's requested a movie look yet. I guess a gray look is probably not as popular outside of Hollywood. For some reason, people seem to think that the gray look in the movies is what really real dead people look like. And I'm like, no, they don't. They don't look like that. So basically, I'm just doing a small light layer of black, smoke black, cover up the latex details. Make sure that all the latex is covered and colored and coated. That just ensures that there's no, you don't see any latex or flesh color anywhere in here. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is pretty good. I don't have a problem with molds per se that much. I have kind of perfected a technique with that personally. I prefer one-piece molds over two-piece. When I do two pieces on an initial project, I usually end up converting them to one piece anyway, because it makes it easier instead of having to bind it together and worrying about latex leaking out and all that stuff. I just put them together as a one piece, the latex pieces. I don't do that much latex work so much as I try to do resin more so. I really like working with resin because resin is lightweight. It's more expensive, but it is lighter weight to work with than the uniform ultra-cal molds. So I try to do that more than I do latex. But people, when you have a character like this and they see it and, oh, can I get that in the mask? Okay, yeah, I can do that. So I try to accommodate everybody on two things instead of one, because then not everybody can afford $300 for a resin brush, even though I do take payments through eBay and Etsy. And it's not a problem. I totally understand people don't have all that money to shell out at one time. You know. But I do try to put a lot of detail and everything into this to make it really well worthwhile. When I had the display mask, which is sitting behind me, I've got to touch that back up. And I went to the convention last weekend. There were a few people that were really impressed with it because it was my first major mask that I had ever done. You know, I mean, I've had a couple other pieces that I, you know, did that were like the Victor Crowley, but I've never done them for wearable. I personally had one to wear. It's been more a, you know, project to do up and offer to people and that type of thing. But this has been the first big major wearable piece that I've ever done on my own. Not, you know, buying a master from somebody else to sculpt it freehand from photos and that type of thing. So I'm quite, you know, happy with how it turned out. I probably could learn a lot more. I mean, I'm always open to learning more techniques and stuff. You know, but have ideas for things and go with them and work on them and that type of thing. So now, unless he wants me to, this thing does not get his eyes cut out. I usually have a piece right here, a hole, or an embedment, I should say, where I show that the eyes are, I put like markers with these little eyes that I've got here. These little guys right here. Now these are some of the eyes that I've got for the resin pieces, but I haven't put them in yet. And not just for this, but pretty much any other resin piece I do. And I just try to see what eye is going to work and that type of thing. So I've got like samples and stuff. Then I'll go down to McKinsey Taxidermy or something and try to find some or something like that and see how that works. I'm not getting a big spray out of this thing. I kind of want to coach. There we go. There's base spray on this side. Shit. try not to touch into the latex part too much because I don't want a whole heavy bunch of paint on that, on the bone. But I do go over it a little bit, then I can just shade it in a little. Thing is to go over this thing with a little bit darker coat sometimes to make sure you get all the little pockets of latex and stuff, because the details on this are so deep in places that I actually have to take the brush and angle it to make sure I get all the latex color coated. And then I go back over with different colors and blend it in. But to making sure that there's no latex showing through the paint job is what the first step is. And then you can go back in the color and detail and do all that. Add and take away and whatnot. I may have to change out airbrushes. I've got this one wanting to play, not play fair with me with the bubbles. I'll turn this around and you guys can see better what I'm doing. I always find the deep cracks and crevices first and try to get those coated in, like the eye sockets and everything. And my wife is walking in. What's up?
Where's the keys?
Huh?
Where's the keys to the
Hummer right here.
Okay,
There you go.
I'll catch you later.
Okay. Well, are you going to your hair appointment?
Yep.
Gonna go get your hair did. Alright. Yeah, my wife's walking out to appointment, so I get to have the house to myself for a couple hours. Woo! And I'm out here doing this instead of in there watching TV or playing video games or something like that. So, thank you, Blaze. I appreciate it. I just really want to be forthcoming with, like I said, you know, I do this quite a bit with airbrushing, you know, when I do a sculpt, or if I, you know, like I said, I recently bought a master from somebody that's an old retired piece that I got permission to kind of make modifications with, and I'm working on that. And the reason being is because that particular piece, and it kind of, you know, with me personally, I just thought, okay, you know, it's floating around, but there's a way to kind of take something old and make it better or make it new and just perk it up a little bit. So it's not me taking this and saying, look what I did. It's more or less taking this and saying, you guys may not remember this, but this guy, Bob Primus, did an incredible sculpture and back in the day, and I thought of a nice way to perk it up and improve on it, and hopefully you guys will look at Bob and go, wow, you know, what else do you have? You know, I don't know, Bob doesn't do that much latex anymore from what I hear. I think he focuses more on resin too, and I kind of thought, well, I wouldn't want to do anything. Like I said, the big thing with me is to make sure that I'm not doing anything that somebody else is doing, because I don't want to step on toes. So I don't make it a habit to go out and buy masters that are retired and try to improvise on them or anything like that. It's just, if somebody's offering something and I look at it and I go, oh, okay, I think maybe there could be a new spin to do on this, you know. which is what a lot of people do with stuff anyway. So you can always take something old and kind of jazz it up and make it look a little bit different. And it's not to take away from the original artist's thing. It's just to say, hey, you know what? I don't know if anybody else has thought about this, and if they had that idea, why didn't anybody act on it? And I think that's one of the issues with this hobby today is people just get something and they go with it as it is. And by that I mean if you have a retired piece that somebody like, it's common practice for an artist to get tired of doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, right? So take this for example. You know, they will run like limited copies to try to get people to buy them and that type of thing. And then they'll turn around and say, okay, there's only 13 being made. After that, I'm not making any more. So what they do is they get that money, and then they turn around and go, okay, it's gone. And then they'll either sell it to somebody else or not do it anymore. And when they sell it to somebody else, they give the rights to that other person to continue the production of it. And I've done that with Victor Crowley because I got that like 4th or 5th party on that. And thought, wow, okay, well, there's a different take on this that I could do. And it's been somewhat successful. And, you know, there's other people that, like some of the major guys out there that do these inexpensive masks. I'm not going to mention names. But there's one company out there that the guy pretty much buys all and any reproductions, or not retired pieces, I should say, as he can. And he just continues the production on them. You know, he pours them and paints them and all that stuff, sells them. Which is okay because it keeps the love of whatever that piece is going, like Don Post or whatever. But the thing is when somebody different like myself comes along, finds an opportunity to buy a piece, I buy a piece and I want to do the same thing that they're doing, but not with that piece that they have. See, I try to take pains to make sure that if I buy something that's being retired, that I'm going to not only have all the rights to reproduce it and everything, but I'm going to have clearance to, you know, if I want to do it in a different format, like latex, silicone, resin, whatever, and they say, yeah, go ahead, then, you know, okay. But see, at the same time, I will go so far as to try to find out who the original artist is, because then I'll let that guy know that, hey, you know, so-and-so's selling this, and they're giving all rights and stuff away. Are you cool with that? And do you mind if I maybe do something different to it? And of course, you know, sometimes they may say yes, sometimes they may say no. It depends on the individual. I've only done that once. I did one where I bought what was supposed to be a master copy, and it was advertised as such on eBay, and it happened to be a Part 7. They didn't tell me who the original artist was. They had no idea, and I went ahead and bought it, thinking, okay, well, you know, you're giving all the rights and stuff away with this, and I can do it. So then I reached out to like 7 different guys that I knew that did the same type of piece, not the piece that I had, to find out who the original artist was. Well, only one guy responded, and it happened to be with another major mask company, and they hold the license to the Friday the 13th character, Jason, from the films. And I explained to him what I was going to do with a personal project, and I said, you know, I would like to get permission to do that with a personal project. I don't have any intent to sell it or anything like that. I just want to see if I can do this. And if I make mistakes and whatnot, you know, it'll be seen live and all that. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Knock yourself out. I've got no problem with it. It's not going to infringe on our rights holdings. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I proceeded to do it, thinking that the guy that gave me the permission to go ahead, he was saying that that might be his piece. Because, see, sometimes artists will put a name or a company label on the inside or outside. Usually it's embedded in latex, from what I've seen from a lot of them. They'll put a name or a label of whatever the artist or the company is on the mask. And that lets you know who did it, where it came from, and they usually give a number of some kind, like this is number 1, number 2, whatever. And there was nothing on this one, the particular one I got earlier, this late last year. And that's why I wanted to kind of reach out and go, okay, who did this? And I wanted to make sure I wasn't, you know, doing somebody else's stuff that was current or anything like that. And even if it was just for a personal project. And because, see, if you get a piece and you have these ideas about, oh, okay, you know, if I did this, and you tell somebody in private, you know, I got this, and I said, you know, if I were to do a sculpting of this, I would probably change this or that or this or that. You know, this is how I kind of go about doing things a little bit differently to make it stand out or pop or look individual. And it's not a reflection on anybody else's work. It's just somebody taking something popular like Jason or Freddie or whatever and making their own version. And in doing that, you have to have something that says, this is what I did. This is how I did this. And this is why this stands out above everybody else's. I got to plug this phone in. Hang on just a second. It's about ready to go dark. Oh, crap. Hang on just a second. There we go. Alright. So, sorry about that. Good Lord. I got one of these stands from Walmart, and I'm trying to put this phone in, plug it up at the same time. Anyway, like I was saying, I forgot what I was saying. Let me think for a second. I know what I was talking about, I just can't remember what the last thing I said was. Okay, well, basically, it's always good if you. I don't know if I'm going to recommend doing it. It was just an idea that was presented to me by somebody else a while back because I was trying to figure out how to get a good start in, you know, learning how to do the casting and all that stuff and molding. And I spent a number of, actually, not a number of years, but a couple of years learning from videos and stuff like that before I even attempted it. And I told somebody about an idea I had for a certain piece that somebody else did, and I thought, you know, this would be nice to do. And it seemed like there's 2 or 3 people who have done it. And I was still new to the whole thing. And thought, this is something maybe I'd like to try to get into. And there's a little community of people out there, in the Friday the 13th community especially, that, and it's Halloween critters. I have a friend of mine who does knockout critter from the movie. He does these critters. And he's constantly getting bashed about it. Because, you know, either, you know, got the idea from somebody else or what have you, and I don't know. But it doesn't matter what community you're in, there's always somebody who is going to have something negative to say about anything that a new artist or a non-experienced artist does. And the thing of that situation I was talking about earlier with the part 7 was I bought that. I made mention to somebody who I used to be friends with. I'm no longer friends with because I feel like this person is basically one of those people that no matter what I do, no matter what I say, they run and try to tell a bunch of people and lie about what I did, what I said, and it draws all that attention to me. And then they come on my feeds and start bashing me based on what this other person said. And so then I have to provide proof and back up that I'm not trying to be deceptive. I'm not trying to be dishonest. And then when it doesn't work for them, they go away. And it turns out I don't hear from them until something else happens. So this one person, I'm not sure if it's one or many, but I know one person. I've got a high suspicion of one person. So I've refused to remain friends with this one person because they don't ever comment, they don't ever say anything, they'll watch and see what I'm doing, but they will not ever. And then again, on their posts, I'm, courteous and polite and encouraging and that type of thing, and say, if there's anything I can do to help, if you have any questions, let me know. Be glad to help. But they just can't, they can't deal for some reason or other. So anyway, I was explaining to this person what I would do and how I'd change things and all that. And I didn't do anything. I haven't done anything physically with anything. I just had a mask. Okay, like I'll show you this right here. I'll give you an example. This right here. This is a personal thing. This is called the Butterfingers from whatchamacallit. All I did was put eyes in this thing and display it. It's basically too small to wear. So it's stuffed with bags. I have it sitting over here. And I have eyes in it to display it. And just kind of look at it. I haven't gotten anything set up to have a proper display with glass cases and all that shit. Because my wife won't let me have anything in the house. So I'm sitting there trying to, come up with ideas on what I would do differently to make some character like Jason stand out and be different from whatever else is out there. And like I said, I tell this person the ideas, like, oh, okay, I would change the nose. If I do a sculpt, I'm going to do a nose, but I'm not going to do a nose like that. I'm going to change it, And that was the first mistake. Because this person went back to the people or the person who actually did that mask and said, he's recasting your shit. And I'm like, I haven't even didn't make a mold, didn't do shit. Just told him, these are ideas that I have if I do one of my own. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's recasting and selling shit of other people. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But they don't believe that. They just want to run out there and holler at the world like fucking Democrats. And the Democrats do this shit too. And they just want to holler at the fucking world about who's doing what and you're a racist and you're this and you're that and blah, 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 blah. And frankly, if you don't do this shit and you haven't gotten your hands in latex and you haven't gotten your hands and done this shit personally and you don't have any background in anything that would lead up to this, I personally think you don't have shit to say about any of it. Because there was another person who, and I'll tell you guys a little backstory here, that I did buy my first set of masters from Chris Russell, formerly of Twisted Toy Box. Okay? And that was the part 7 body pieces he used to do. And I thought, well, that would be nice. You know, I'd like to try my hand at that and continue that and keep that production going. And, you know, I've got different ideas about how to do the paint-ups and that type of thing. And so I talked to him. We came to an agreement. He said, yeah, if you want to take these and do something different with it, go ahead. You got my blessing. So that's where the Jason Goes to Hell blown up head prop came from. Because he did the mask, and there again I checked with his former partner, Justin Mabry, which is how I got to know Justin a little bit. Because I checked with Justin again, even after I bought those things legally and legitimately, to make sure that there was not going to be an issue. Because Justin Mabry works with Tots, and they hold the license for the Friday the 13th characters exclusively. In other words, they have the independent, the international contract license, copyright license for the Jason character from the movies, not the fan film. Now I'm okay with this one because this is mine that I did from a fan film, Friday the 13th Vengeance. So nobody can come after me and say, oh, you got to stop production on this shit. And even so, with this, when I was sculpting it, I went back and talked to people at CFX who did the mask for the movie, and they made 2 of them, and they did those. And I talked to CFX about it and said, somebody gave me permission to do a sculpting for resin and possibly latex buff of this. Are you guys going to have a problem with it? I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to, you know. And they looked at it and they said, nope. You changed enough details that it doesn't resemble ours. And not only that, but they informed me that they broke the original mold of the Vengeance Jason that was made for the movie. So that right there says, we don't have the mold anymore. We're not continuing production on this. And it gives me free license as an artist to do my own version, my own interpretation, everything. And that's the way it should be. If you're doing a character, like say you're doing, okay, there's a guy named Marcio Charlie from Brazil. And he does he does a lot of good work. As far as detail goes on his stuff. And he's got a unique way of doing it. He's got a signature that is unique to his pieces. He does, you know, Jason. He does Wolverine. He does, but yeah, I don't know if he sold anything other than the Jason. But he sculpted a lot of other stuff. And it's really, really good. And the thing is I don't know how easy it would be for anybody to go after him because he does so-and-so from the movie or something like that, and he doesn't have the international product licenses. But I don't think it's a problem, or it shouldn't be a problem, if a fan wants to create something and do it because they love the movie, they should be able to do it. As long as they're not doing exactly somebody else's work. And that's why I've always tried to make sure that I contacted whomever might have the licenses or whomever might look like they did this piece and make sure that it was okay. And the whole thing is there are some people out there that don't like it when you're honest, forthright, and forthcoming about that because they don't have, maybe, I don't know, maybe they don't have the same honesty and integrity as I do. And I'm okay with talking about all this openly and publicly because you guys that follow me are going to see some people that never comment, never say anything, jump on the feeds and start accusing people of doing shit. And I'm here to tell you, I've got evidence and everything to back up everything I do, say, put my hands in, or have anything to do with. I try to check everything out 6 ways to Sunday to make sure that nobody's going to come up and start hollering recaster or some other fucking bullshit. And they say, oh, it's just easier to do your own thing. Okay, yeah, I do my own thing. I've got more than just adjacent pieces. I've got Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've got a couple of variations of that. This is just something that I'm working on because a lot of people want to have something from this. My wife was telling me, oh, you need to bust out the Arnold and retool that because the new Terminator movie's coming out the first of next month. And I'm like, well, shit, I gotta get these orders done. So I don't have a lot of time for every damn thing because I'm a one-person studio here. So the whole thing is there is a practice in some places where people will take somebody else's piece and they will either retool it, reproduce it, or punch it up, or what have you. The thing is if you do buy it, it is best to check and make sure you know before you buy it who that artist is and make sure that they have no issues with you doing anything with it. Whether it be you do a retool, reproduce, and reproduce, I mean keep the production of it going. And that's not to take away from any artist out there. Like I said, I'm not naming names. But it's not to take away from any individual or certain artist out there who I know are not watching this feed, not listening because they're not commenting. And they could care less unless it's something that they think they can benefit from by bashing me or saying something negative about me. So, that wasn't intended to be a rant on this because I know I've only got one person watching. But all I'm going to do right now is, like I said, I'm just laying down the first layer, making sure all the latex is covered. It's a smoke gray layer, and it's just supposed to highlight and make sure that all the latex gets filled in, all the gaps. So, didn't mean to go on a tangent about me, and all that bullshit. Like I said, I'm just wanting to be forthright, honest, and explain things, because y'all are going to see that in some of these posts, and I'm not going to delete them, and I'm not going to take them down, because I want people to see what goes on, and I want people to understand, you know, the mass business is like the film business. I'm not in this to make a whole lot of money. I'm in this because I like doing it. I enjoy being creative. It gives me something to do when I'm not working. Right now I'm on work hiatus. So if I go back to truck driving, I won't be doing this as much, but I don't know where that stands right now. And until I find out whether I'm going to be permanently off the trucking thing, I thought I was, but things may change. And the situation being, you know, if I go back to over-the-road trucking, won't have as much time for this. So, I don't know where that stands. I don't know anything about that at the moment. So, we'll just see what goes on with that. But this this right here, like I said, is the base layer for this piece. And like I said, wanted to make sure that the guy that I was making this for saw it, knew it, and could see this being worked on. And that's pretty much it. So if you look at this, you can't really see anything latex-wise not covered with some kind of light base layer. I don't want to heavily coat some areas because I know they're going to be boned. I don't want to have to, go back in and strip it down and redo it. So basically this is just a base layer here on this to make sure all the little pockets of open latex are covered. And I'm going to get this here and just kind of spritz it. I'll take a dab more in here, and then where is the black? I just had it in my hand. Smoke black. What? Yeah, there it is. I get these mixed up because I got 32 ounces of different paints. I buy all my Creatix colors in 16 and 32 ounces. The base colors, so I have enough and I don't have to order every 5 minutes. It's easier doing that way, like latex. Some people, I fortunately live about an hour away from Reynolds Supply, so I can just go down there and get it myself. And I don't have to worry about it because I always have it. It may not be thin or thick as I want it when I get it, but I do know the trick of that. Just leave it open for a couple hours, stir it up, leave it open for a couple hours, and let it sit. It'll form a skin on it, and when it forms a skin, that lets you know it's thickening up. So if you first get it and it's got bubbles in it, just open it up, stir it up, let it sit out for a couple hours. It's not going to dry out on you. It doesn't do that. Can't dry out unless it's got something to dry out into. And that's where the stone mold comes in. That you pour it in, and the stone sucks all the ammonia and shit out of it and dries it out. The water and the ammonia. Oh my God. I've really got to go to the bathroom at the moment. So, anyway, for the one person that's watching, or two people that's watching, I apologize. I'm going to have to cut this video off and run to the bathroom. So, this is basically, just like I said, the first coat. And it's just a light spray. I'm going to do one more right here because I can't walk away from this thing without this thing being coated. Shit. Alright, well that's going to sit for a little bit. I can't fucking get this thing to spray. I may end up having to switch out airbrushes. I've got a clog in there somewhere. See how quickly my hands get dirty and everything from testing it. I don't test it on the paper and stuff like I do. I just spray it on my hands and make sure it's got a good flow. Anyway, that's just a base coat. I'll go back in with different colors, detail it up, do all that stuff. That's going to take about 2 or 3 days because I'd spend a couple of hours out here at a time and then have to turn around and walk away from it. Here's a good example right here where I've got this one, which is my cosplay version. And of course that one doesn't look as good because this is an early version, initial version. But this is the one that I wear when I do the cosplay. And of course, you know, I gotta go back in and touch up in a couple of places where it probably didn't get too much, enough flex gloss on it, which I've got ordered. And then there are, oh, there we go. Camera came back up. Okay, then this guy right here is the other resin bust of the Vengeance that I've got left. That's one of the first 3 that was done that's foamed. I've got 4 that I did and I've gotten rid of. One went to Jason Brooks, the very first one. The second one went to a guy in the UK. I've got this one, which is an alternate version. I had a damaged one that a friend of mine wanted, and I gave it to him.